Well, today folks, we're back on Nibbler, the 1988 ZX-10. Wouldn't be me if I didn't clean the lens. Anyway, as you can see, there's some crap all over it from when I was commuting on it. But I also noticed, and it befuddled me in the beginning, there's an oil staining on the exhaust. And originally I thought it was I hadn't put the clutch cover on properly, because there's a couple of places where the case is split that you need to put silicone, otherwise they definitely will leak. So I thought it was that at first, but the cases, if you run your finger below, are bone dry. It turns out this is where the balance shaft comes out, just here, and it's the oil seal there that's gone, and it was dripping on the frame, going underneath and then falling on the exhaust. So today's little task is to change that little bugger of an oil seal. So we'll see how we get on. I'm afraid you can't sit there. Let's put you on something. Edit that out. Fuck's sakes. Right, I can't get a socket on there because the frame rail's in the way. There's no point removing the frame rail, so we'll just get in with a spanner and a couple of love taps. Look at this, look. It's loose. It's actually... It actually come out its housing. But it is... rock hard. So yeah. There you go. Just clean around the area. There's the new part. That's your part number. And just worth note that the side with the cutout goes towards the engine. Okay. Now that's gone in quite nicely, but I'm just going to tap it home with an appropriate size socket gently. It does have a cutout seat. It can't go any further than what it should. So yeah, let's go and get a tappy device. Right, I've got an 18mm spark plug spanner, and that goes over nicely. So it's a question of just seating it. Okay, that looks good. And it's time to put the retainer on. This retainer just stops the balancer shaft spinning, basically. So we'll line that hole up first. This is an 8mm. You don't need any thread seal or copper slip on it. Just the clamp bolt, again, is an 8mm. Now you can get a socket on the locking tab side of it, but it's a spanner for this. And they do not have to be mega tight. Yeah, but I hope if you've got the right size spanner there, Jimbo. And the right way round as well. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to lightly snug that in. So I can just feel it bite, but then I'm going to run that in. And then torque it to factory spec, which is this. Click, click. It's an 8mm, it's not going to be tight. Same with this snug bolt. Lovely. Now off camera, I've heated the copper washers up on either side of the banjo, and that should just help it seat again. So move the line back, be very careful. These lines are pliable to a degree, but just bear in mind the age of them. They may not wish to cooperate, and they may snap. It wouldn't be the first time. And these are 14mm. At some point I'm going to replace the oil cooler hoses, because they do not look their best, and they're known to fail, they're known to crack, and they're known to fail. Basically all you do is you dremel the old crimp on fitting, and put some new hoses on, because there's barbed fittings either end, and then just do them up with like Jubilee clips and they're good to go, because the oil system through the oil cooler is not under a great deal of pressure. So there we go, that's that little seal gone. And as usual with banjos, don't over tighten them, because you've more than likely got an alloy bolt going into an alloy case. So literally just nip them up and then check for leaks, and if they do leak, just nip them up a tiny bit at a time. There we go, and you can see the oil on the bottom of the frame rail there. So we'll I'll give that a wipe. The oil on the exhaust will burn off. But yeah, it's created quite a mess. So it's a good job I won that muck off cleaning kit from Wamoto, and by the looks of it I need to use it. So I mean, that's the oil leak it caused basically. You can see it's all under there, just wipe that little bit off. But I think that'll do for today. That's the job I wanted to get done. I might just test run the bike, see if it'll start. There's not a lot of fuel in it, so we'll just see if she'll start first of all. But you can see the condition of the lines, and what happens is the rubber splits and then you'll start pissing oil everywhere, and that can happen when you're riding. Before you know it, your oil pressure light will come on and you're stuck basically. You can blank the cooler off. We don't really need a cooler in the UK. Basically we don't really, even, you know, get your fucking words out, Jim. The last couple of weeks weather is extraordinary, but it gets hotter than that in Japan, so which is why Japanese bikes have oil coolers. We don't really need them. So yeah, so a little bit of rust crustage came off the pipe as I bent it there, so we'll clean that up. Probably see if she'll start now. Check my work. thing with ZX-10s, as ZX-11s sometimes do it as well, is that if you've left the bike for a couple of weeks, you know, always leave it on the side stand, don't leave it, sorry, the main stand, don't leave it on the side stand. If you leave it on the side stand for any length of time, like it's been laid up for a year or whatever, the end bearing on the crank can run dry and rust, and that will necessitate a full engine strip down, press a new bearing on if you haven't scrapped the crank and all that lot. So just bearing that in mind, if you keep it on the main stand and give it a run up, you get an evil spread of oil. Talking of oil, you can look at your sight glass on a ZX-10 and it will be empty, but run the engine for a couple of minutes and then stop it and check it again. And I don't know whether you can see, but the level's up there. And yes, that oil's mucky, and it's only had 960 miles put on it. The thing is, you can flush an engine as much as you want when it's stationary in the garage, and you can flush your cooling system as much as you want, and literally until it's flowing clear water. Hang on. Oh, better not gamble on that one. But nothing will put it through the proper heat cycles and stuff like that, and the load that riding it will. So I'm going to drop the oil and filter when I've got the time and get some nice clean stuff in there. I'm going to swap out the coolant as well and get some fresh stuff in there, but all that is after my Holly Bobs, which is coming up soon. So yeah, we've replaced the oil filter, but what I've noticed is one of the banjo bolts down here is wet, and that's for the aforementioned oil cooler lines. Now it could just be that there is a little housing it bolts onto there. It could just be that they bolts just want nipping up, because one thing I didn't do is actually check over the engine. I basically just got her running, put new plugs in her, flush the old oil out and stuff like that. So I haven't actually inspected the engine at all, and the fact that it's a 1988 bike, chances are the majority of the O-rings and stuff like that are all original, so they're all going to start to fail. So it's just something to keep your eye on. But yeah, she does need a wash, look. Ooh, scummy, some of you, that I know that is like fingernails down a blackboard, but doesn't bother me, and that's probably where we're going wrong. Anyway guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching. Just a quick update and a quick job on Nibbler, and one of my next jobs is actually fitting the roof bars and the roof box to Rosie, because my stepson takes all his fishing gear and it don't fit in the boot because his rods are all pre-assembled, so we have to put a rod bag and all that lot on there. So that's my next job I'll be doing. So yeah, thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Interesting, I managed to get a turn out of that.